hope this thing is on. What's good, everybody? I hope that you're having a phenomenal day or have had a phenomenal day. Today's video is very special to me because one of the ways my girlfriend and I first began to bond was over our love for travel. In fact, I recall the first time we ever went on a date, one of the first questions I asked her was, hey, what's on your bucket list of places to go? And from that moment on, I began to plot. She told me it was Paris, France. And so this past April, I got a chance to take her on a surprise birthday trip to Paris, France. It was the first time for the both of us, so I laid out a pretty cool itinerary and I wanted to share that with you all today. So if you're ever looking to go to Paris, you're looking to go back, hopefully this can serve as a starting point for you or just as a bucket list of things that you yourself can do. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, as many of you may know, we are Delta faithful, so we had to start this trip off here in the Delta Sky Lounge, where the lovely Delta Sky Lounge concierge serenaded the birthday girl and provided some complimentary champagne to get us off on a great note. In terms of getting to Paris itself, we flew from Houston, our hometown, to JFK, and then from JFK, I think it was about an 8-hour straight shot to Paris, and this allowed us to land just in time to check into our hotel, located in the 4th arrondissement of Paris. Now, in terms of that hotel, if you've never been to Paris or you want to go back, give So Paris Hotel a shot. If you're a sucker for great locations, great amenities, great views, and great people with a personalized experience, this has all of that and more, and we absolutely love this place for those reasons. This was our hotel room. It was a complimentary upgrade for the birthday girl, so again, just speaks to their generosity. They included a birthday cake, some chocolates, and they even made this very kind gesture. We appreciate it. They wrote her a handwritten note to commemorate the stay. I just love things like that, so absolutely loved them for that. So again, check out So Paris Hotel. This was our view from the room. We had a view of the Seine River, of Midtown, and oh yeah, we had this great view of the Eiffel Tower just outside of the window. So I think the birthday girl was absolutely satisfied with this hotel room. They had a spa, after a long flight, we had to indulge in that. We're gym rats, so we got to check out the gym, and they actually had, I think, like 3 or 4 gyms, a swimming pool, a sauna, the whole nine, right? But our absolute favorite amenity was their rooftop terrace. Now, the rooftop terrace is open to the public, but as guests, you get priority seating, and you get to get in early when others can't. This place had its own bar, its own lounge, its own restaurant, and these gorgeous panoramic views of the entire city. So we just indulged in that on the first day, caught up a bit, dusted off some of the jet lag before we ultimately got started on our first night here in Paris. Now look, y'all know I'm a bit of a Darius love haul, and for the birthday girl, my baby girl, we'll do anything, right? So with this being a bucket list item 4, we absolutely could not start this trip off without, let's call it a Parisian style romantic dinner, right? When I thought of Paris, I think of like these romantic vibes, the evanescence, the French voices all throughout the air. This restaurant, Le Georges, had all of that and more. They had panoramic views of the city, much like our hotel rooftop. They even put this pretty little rose on every table, which really made it a very romantic scene and made the birthday girl feel really loved. So we greatly appreciated that. Now, in terms of the food, packed in flavor, we tried the shrimp, the Chilean sea bass, and we topped it off with a bottle of wine, but the portions are a bit small. Just be prepared for that. They also had this very beautiful view of the Eiffel Tower right from our seat, and I didn't know this, but the Eiffel Tower glows up, as you saw there, pretty much every hour on the hour, I think starting at about 7 p.m. And that was really our first night, right? We just called it quits pretty early and relaxed for a jam-packed schedule ahead. On our first full day, we actually got up a little late and missed our first adventure, which was supposed to be an Eiffel Tower tour, but we'll get to that later. So we just decided to pivot and do something just as cool, which is visit the Champs-Elysees area of Paris. Now, if you're big on shopping, then you know the Champs-Elysees area is where all the shops are at, and it's also where you can see a beautiful view of the Arc de Triomphe, like you just saw there. But this place is absolutely amazing. We spent about 5, I don't even want to admit how many hours we spent here just shopping. Of course, we had to make a little pit stop for some food, but yeah, we just had a shopping spree for the birthday girl, so that was absolutely amazing. We got some gifts for her, for me, for our families. Yeah, we just, you can say shop till we dropped. One thing to note, right, we were there in like mid-April, so the traffic was absolutely terrible while we were there. We missed the first day of adventures, like the Eiffel Tower tour in the morning, and we also missed our evening tour, which is supposed to be a Seine River cruise. But no problem, we pivoted and just started to sightsee, stopped into a few cafes just to grab some wine, some cheeses, and just spend some quality time with each other before ultimately calling it quits again for this night, because we had a very jam-packed day the very next day. This next day was my personal favorite. I really got in my geek bag. We got up really early, like around 7, and grabbed some just Parisian style breakfast, which was just coffee and croissants. And then we took a train down to the beautiful city of Versailles. I will tell you, we did this Airbnb experience, which I have linked below. If you happen to be in Paris for 4 or 5 days like we were or more, definitely spend some time in Versailles. We took a Airbnb experience, so it was a whole day. Just be prepared for that, a whole day experience. I'll link the train that we took, but the guide that we had was absolutely incredible. We're suckers for just indulging in the cultures in which we, decide to travel to, so this was a perfect opportunity to do just that. Our guide provided us bikes to roam around the city of Versailles in. I will say it was a tad bit cold, so we were not prepared for that, but we absolutely loved our adventure with our guide. She was so well educated. She was a local Parisian. She knew so much about her beautiful country, and specifically the city of Versailles, and she really just made for a perfect learning experience full of adventure for us and the entire crew. So obviously, the Palace of Versailles is a very big tourist attraction, so you're going to see lines out the wazoo no matter what time of year you come. And because she was so savvy, she got us to skip just about every single line. So again, shout out to our guide. We loved her. Now, in terms of Paris itself, or the Palace of Versailles rather, we just absolutely turned into some geeks. I'm no history buff, but everything about the pomp and circumstance and the richness of the French history really came to life for us, right? As we walked through the Palace of Versailles, the Gardens of Versailles, the Hall of Mirrors, we even got to see the Gallery of Coaches and like the Queen's Hamlets. Everything about it was just absolutely amazing, and I did not know I was this much of a nerd when it came to French history, but our guide, again, just being so educated and lively, really gave us such an enriching experience about this beautiful country, and specifically Versailles, that we just can't rave enough. So again, if you happen to be in Paris for some time, spend some time going to Versailles and just getting that history lesson. It'll be well worth your time and money. The other cool thing is that when you're in Versailles for this whole day, you get to meet others. So we met some local Texans and decided to have lunch with them, just break some bread. I tried some escargot, as you can see here. I even tried some beef tartare, which I know we have in the States, but my palate was never experienced enough to try it in the States. So I tried it here in Paris, and we just absolutely loved that before we got on to the second leg of our trip here in Versailles. Yeah, again, we just absolutely love this place. You gotta see it. It's just a regal, it's pomp and circumstance, and again, just very rich. It's everything you think of when you think of the French. Now, remember I told you that Versailles trip is well worth it, but you're going to be pooped when it's all over, because it is a day of walking and adventure. So we decided to just have dinner on the rooftop at the rooftop restaurant of our hotel, which we absolutely love. This was the birthday girl's actual birthday, so we also celebrated a little bit before going out to a place that I was going to keep to myself. It's called Moonshiners. It's a true speakeasy located in the back of a pizza shop. Like, you got to go in, just by the way you're dressed, they'll know you're there for the speakeasy. They'll let you in, but just an absolute vibe for you to kick back, relax, and just spend some quality time with your loved ones. And that was our second day in Paris.
Look, Marlon, say cheese.
Remember I told you we missed that first adventure, which was the Eiffel Tower tour. And because we booked with Viator, they granted us a little clemency because of our newness to the city, if you will. So we decided to spend this next day doing what we missed the first day, which is seeing the Eiffel Tower. Now, again, we are some geeks when it comes to the culture experiences of the places we travel. So we decided to book through Viator a guided tour of the Eiffel Tower. One thing to note, there are a couple ways to do this, right, you can just go to the Eiffel Tower. You can pretty much see it from anywhere. You do not have to do a tour. But if you do a tour, there's a couple ways to do it. You can see the ground level. You can go to, I think, what they call the second level, or you can go to the very top. And that's what we decided to do. As you can see here, there's some construction going on for the Olympics at this time of year. But it was just absolutely breathtaking and just a cool experience, a great learning experience, just seeing everything about the Eiffel Tower, how it came to be, and its historical significance, of course, was something we loved. We even got to etch our names in the wall, so that was really cool. Maybe we'll be back one day to see it again. But this, again, who goes to Paris and not see the Eiffel Tower? So we just had to be tourists and check this out, and it is well worth the price of admissions. Now, I said Le George's was a great restaurant. There are 3 restaurants that you must try. Le George's is one. The second one is this one here. It is called Pink Mama's. This place is a hit in Paris, so if you Google it, you'll see a lot about it. You'll probably even see it be pretty booked, but we actually got a same-day reservation, and they allowed us to have a reservation at the very top, which is where you see us here. The lady had some delicious truffle pasta. I was a barbarian and just decided to get some steak and fries, but we absolutely had a blast there, and the food was totally delicious. So check out Pink Mama's, get there when you can, and you'll love it. And of course, as you see here, right, who goes to Paris without seeing the Louvre? Because we had such a rich experience with our tour guide at the Palace of Versailles, we got so much history about the Louvre. I think I was going to reserve this for just like one of our free days, but we were just so eager to see, decided to do this in our spare time on this particular day. It's pretty easy to get in. We got in at about 4 p.m. It's a jam-packed place. Again, another major tourist attraction. So when we got there around 4 o'clock, we actually got in at a good enough time to beat a lot of the traffic and bombarding that you'll see trying to get to the Mona Lisa exhibit. So we got a pretty good shot of the Mona Lisa. I'll tell you some tricks about that later on in a different video, but it was just a good time seeing the Louvre. Now, again, we got a bit sick because it was a bit cold there for our liking, so we just decided to call it quits pretty early that day. I stopped by a local grocery store, grabbed some charcuterie, some fruit, some wine, and we just sat in our hotel room for, I think, from about 7 o'clock to the rest of the night, and just caught up and spent some quality time before we recuperated for the very next day. And on that next day, day 4, we slept in pretty late, decided to get up and go catch some brunch over in Elysees, where the lady strategically had to take us because she wanted to do some more shopping. So can't say no to that, right? And then for the rest of that afternoon, we did what we missed on the first day as well, which was that Seine River cruise. Again, this is also an absolute must. We love this, and also has a very rich learning experience that you can take as well. It takes you through all of the Paris, right through the Seine River. And in our particular cruise, we had a champagne cruise. So we also got a good learning lesson on champagne, which, if you didn't know, right, it's not champagne unless it comes from the Champagne region in France. So that was a great way just to spend our afternoon in Paris. Now, again, right, a benefit of having those guided tours is some of the game you pick up from the tour guides. Our tour guide from the Palace of Versailles, bless her heart, she put us onto our 3rd absolute favorite restaurant in Paris. It is a Black-owned restaurant called Babylone Bis. As you walk in, you'll see some very familiar faces on the wall, so you'll get the feeling of a very unique atmosphere from the second you walk in. The food is 10 out of 10, and it is full of grandmama's flavors. So I absolutely love this place, and it has to go on our bucket list of places to eat in Paris. And for our last day in Paris, we did something we like to do, which was check into a new hotel to spend our last day in a new scene. We chose a local Marriott in Paris, and we just decided to be locals on this day, right? We got dressed up real fancy and just walked around the city, stopped by some cafes, did some more sightseeing. We just talked to the locals, learned about the culture and their experiences. And then during the nighttime, we did more or less the same thing. We got to meet so many people just out and about and see so many cool things and really see the city in a brand new sort of clean fashion. And we absolutely love that. We even topped the night off by going to a place that was recommended to us rather from a local. I think it's called Adoba or Asoba. I'll link that as soon as I remember what it was. But this place was just an awesome charcuterie shop. They had fresh cheeses and meats, and I think they had the best wine, in my opinion, in all of France that we tried. So that was pretty much our trip, man. We called it quits late that night. We had a really early flight. I want to say at about 8 a.m. But again, we just fell in love with Paris on this trip. It was both of our first time here. It's very rare that we get to go somewhere new that we both have not been, and ironically, Paris was that. So we love Paris.